I'm Andrea Ivanka, business leadership coach. And what that really means is I work with entrepreneurs who are growing and scaling. And I say business leadership because we work not just on business strategy and things, but also the leadership aspect about it. So, a little bit about me: I have 10 years in education. So, things like curriculum development. I worked at a university. My second day on the job, they're like, "You're responsible for hiring all the student workers and creating a training program for them." I was like, okay. So, I've done lots of different things. I've lived in Mexico, UK, China, and been responsible for creating training programs in all these different places. And when I moved back to Canada, well, way over 10 years ago at this point, I decided to get into coaching. And so, what that really means is, as you can see there on the slide, I've got over 20 years of experience in things like backwards planning from the end result. So, a little bit like what Angela was sharing: what's the plan? How do we get back on track? Breaking down steps and making sure there's logical and emotional drivers that directly impact your business growth. And I'm going to talk about the importance of having both. We think we are very logical all the time, and yet all of us as entrepreneurs know there's emotions involved in running a business. When things are going well, it's like, woohoo. When your favorite client decides they're going to work with somebody else, it's like, oh my God, what in the world happened, right? Or the economy does things, or whatever, right? Just personal life. So understanding logical and emotional drivers is really important. And fun fact, I have over 1,000 hours of training inside of different things with that are coaching related over the last 10 years. So put it into perspective for those of us who aren't in Ontario, a paralegal needs about 120 hours of training to operate as a paralegal. I'm at over 1,000 hours. And I think that's really important when we're talking about things like referrals and things. I know everybody has to start somewhere, but I'm not somebody that got their coaching certificate off a 2-day course online and just opened up their doors. I've been doing this for a while. I know what makes people tick, and I have a lot of fun doing it. So, at the heart of it as a business leadership coach is I help entrepreneurs hit their goals 85% of the time in 90 days without needing to spend extra money. And what that really means is 85% of the clients that I work with in 90 days hit the goals that they've set. Sometimes they are directly financial, and sometimes they are the things that will support the financial goal. So, for example, when I first started working with Linda last year, I was like, okay, what needs to happen for LeadTribes to grow? Well, we need more guests. We need more members joining up. Okay, well, LeadTribes is a referral networking group. It's always going to be more members and guests and things like this. It's part of the what keeps LeadTribes moving. So if we already know that's not really the thing in the way, because that's just part of standard operating for LeadTribes. It was, well, Linda was the only one leading all of the tribes. So in order for it to grow, that meant she needed to be able to have tribe leaders start taking over. Well, what was necessary for tribe leaders? Well, needed an agreement, needed a bit of onboarding, needed to know what was going to happen with the tribe leaders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So most people, and I'm going to get into a couple of myths in just a second, most people would just take a look at the logical thing. Okay, you want this many more members, you've got to invite this many people, you've got to make this many connections, you've got to make this many calls, and there you're going to hit your goal. Maybe, but most of your entrepreneurs, you can break down those numbers pretty easily. That doesn't take a lot of rocket science when you know numbers of what it's going to take. So it's really about getting under what's there. So on that happy note, I want to do a little bit of myth busting. I'm going to do 2 myth busters, okay? First thing is, people often think they need a coach who's going to be tough on them and push them harder, but the reality is most entrepreneurs are already hard on themselves. They're already shouldering the responsibility of all of the things. What they really need is a coach who knows when to push and when to dial it down. Mythbuster number 2 is people often struggle to reach their financial goals with other coaches because their approach only focuses on the logistics. That's like what I was saying. For example, they'll focus on use this template, this marketing strategy, this pitch deck, make this many calls, whatever it is, without addressing the emotions that drive confident power decision making. And so this is the question: is how many times have we pulled ourselves out of the game because we were in a bad mood or overtired or something happened and it's just like, oh, I don't want to deal with this today. So I'm going to just share a quick client story with you to take a look at these myths in real life, right? So one of the things I do is when I'm working with one-on-one clients, and to an extent inside my group program, which Angela was referencing earlier, the growth zone, we set a goal. and quite often with entrepreneurs, it's a financial goal. And we work backwards from the moment where they've successfully hit their goal and see what could possibly in the way. So this is one of my clients, Sally. She wanted to do 100K in 90 days. And we started taking a look at what did she need to do. And the emotional obstacle that was in her way was this fear of being judged. She'd been told that in her industry, the only way to get ahead and hit that kind of a goal in that time frame was spend money on ads and spend more money on ads and figure out what the right messaging is. And when you figure out the right messaging is, then just spend more on ads. But she didn't want to do ads. It was misaligned with her personality, what she really wanted to do, which was build deep, meaningful strategic partnerships. So once we let go of that fear of being judged and like you're doing it wrong, you're not doing it the right way in your industry, you're not going to be successful if you do it this way. She was 100% confident now to ditch that approach and focused on building strategic relationships. So you'll see here it says we did RCT shift, that's rapid core transformation. That is something that I have developed over years of working with people. It's a mix of emotional intelligence, hypnosis, like just a whole lot of stuff. So with that new approach, once we let go of that fear of being judged, she was like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to focus on. She brought in 139,000 in 90 days, surpassed her goal by $39,000. So this is the kind of work I do. It's not that we're throwing strategy out the window and saying, don't have strategy. We're saying, what's going on inside of you as the entrepreneur, as the leader, so that we're dealing with what's happening inside of you in tandem with the strategy. That is really at the heart of it. There's a lot more I could share with you, but that's where I wanted to start with today. And people often say, well, especially right now, we're rebuilding the website again. How do you work with us? All of these things. It's very simple. It all starts with a complimentary call. It's called a vision connection call. I just talk to somebody to figure if or how I can help them. If I can, we hop on a longer call to figure out how. There's no pressure, no sales on this initial call. I mean, can you imagine trying to do a sale with somebody in 15 minutes that you've never met before? Probably not, right? And most people, sometimes they feel like they're getting ready for the sucker punch. Like, I'm going to talk to this person for the first time. And they're already going to try and sell me on something and they don't even know me. And lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Okay. So we completely take that out of our process. And it's just, look, if there's somebody that you see that's growing and scaling, they've got some big goals, you notice some things, it's as simple as, hey, have you ever thought about whatever it is that you've noticed? I know a really great business leadership coach, might be worth having a conversation with her to see if she can help you get to your goals faster. And that's it. Okay. It's not about fixing things that are broken. It's just about how do we help human beings become more effective.